Hello and welcome back to
Two
Two Cents.
Cents, our new podcast where we're bridging the gap with our community and just getting more personal, letting you all learn a little bit more about us, talking about issues that matter, sharing everything we've learned,
Reading the comments.
reading the comments, and reacting to the comments. This episode, we're going to be talking about the thing that most people responded in the poll to. The number one thing they wanted to hear from us was, how much do we make?
Yeah, we could definitely talk about that.
Such a hot topic.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that. But first, I want to talk about something that we get a lot of questions on, and it's copycats. How do we feel about copycats? I guess let's give some background because I want to timeline this. Our first video for Salary Transparent Street went out on April 16th, 2022. Check the dates. If you have watched another account similar to ours and you're like, "Oh, they ripped off that account, that creator." Check the dates.
Please do.
Please do, because that is not the case. I tell people we do not own the right to ask people how much they make. We don't own the right to do street interviews. Also, our cute little dog Quinn is joining us today. Quinn, you want to say hi?
Gwyneth Paltrow.
Gwyneth Paltrow.
Okay. That was her saying hello, I
That was
guess.
her saying hello. So check the dates, because a lot of times people will think that we ripped off a creator that does the same thing that we do, and that's not the case.
The thing is for us, like transparency is the most important thing. So therefore, if that means that we created content and somebody copies it or gets a very similar idea from it, as long as they're helping promote pay transparency, that's the important part.
100%.
But with that, no, it does not feel good seeing other channels pretty much
Rip off.
rip off your content.
No creator feels good about that.
Yeah.
And people are so quick to tell us you don't own the right to ask people how much they make on the street. You're right.
We don't.
We're not
Yeah.
arguing that. We're not arguing that. And like you said, all transparency is good. If it encourages transparency and it gets more information out there, we're so happy to see it. But it is so disheartening when our content is kind of ripped off, literally, like our questions, our style, everything that we do, and
Our color, the
our
title color, and
color.
then how we display pay. I mean, and like that's the sad part about it is because we don't,
Specifically calling out American income on this one.
but because we don't own the rights to it, like it is really disheartening. And that's why, like, whenever I'm scrolling my For You page, and I see literally yesterday, I saw somebody do the exact same video. I'm talking about word for word.
Of ours?
No, not
Oh,
ours.
okay.
But it was of a creator that I know. Like not
Oh,
personally know, but like I
yeah.
follow their page, so like I've seen all of their content. So to randomly scroll across, this smaller creator, that's what I'll call them because they're creating content at the end of the day. Not authentic content, but they're creating content, so it was a smaller creator, had no likes on their post yet, but like it was word for word the exact same video. And since there were no comments, like I didn't want to be the guy that's like, oh, let me be the first one to comment and say you're ripping off somebody's
I would.
content. But that's what I was getting to is at the same time I did comment like, hey, this looks very familiar. Not directly calling them out, but letting them know like, hey, this isn't
I'm
okay.
watching.
Yeah, I'm watching, by all means. And
Yeah. I
we
don't
get
know why
people,
people think that's okay.
well, like I said, one guy that we talked to, one content creator, he actually said that he was told to do videos like ours,
Yeah.
to
Oh,
kind of,
yeah.
yeah, to kind of get into the field. And I understand that, but at the same time, like, therefore, you're not doing it for the right reasons. They're doing it for clout, and you can see the difference when you interview certain job fields only for the purpose of hearing, yeah, I'm a drop shipper and I make $500,000 every month.
So, on that note, what frustrates me about creators that quote unquote rip off our style is when it's very obviously for clout.
Yeah.
We created Salary Transparent Street because I found out that I was underpaid, and we did it with a mission to normalize pay transparency and get more information out there. That has been our mission from day one. And the reason that we haven't, gone off to go do a totally different style of interviews and abandoned the pay transparency is because this has always been our mission. And
Correct. That's the difference.
and when these new accounts, when we went viral and everybody started doing what we were doing because they saw that it worked, I was happy because there was more transparency and our mission was actually, being normalized. Like it was
Yeah.
actually coming to fruition. But I was unhappy because I could tell that a lot of these creators were doing it for clout because they saw that we were making money off of it, that we were getting viral, that we quit our jobs. So they were like, I'm going to do the exact same thing. And what bothers me about it is they have cheapened a street interview. They've cheapened the style. They've cheapened the content. I think a lot of people now, honestly, are kind of tired of the what do you do and how much do you make because so many people are doing it
Well,
now.
I don't even think it's just because of that, though. I mean, like, for instance, we went to New York, and it had been a while since we've been in New York.
Washington Square
Yeah,
Park.
Washington Square Park. There was like 6 people there doing man on the street interviews.
All in the same
All in the
area.
same area, which I'm not knocking, but at the same time, like,
It makes
because
sense why people don't want to stop anymore.
right, because the market is now oversaturated. People are going, well, why do I want to stop and talk to you? So you can earn money off of
Right.
my interview, so that
Or flip me to look bad.
and
That I hate.
yeah, that
Those
was
creators, oof,
I
I've got
remember
a
when
bone to pick
I
with
remember when
them.
we first started, that was a huge issue, is that people were starting to flip people's
What they were
interviews.
saying, making them look like they were stupid or lying, and
Exactly.
we've never done that. If
Correct.
anything, we've protected our interviewees so much because I don't want the people that we interview to be scared of us,
Right.
but they have every right to be. So it's just frustrating that these creators have now, in my mind, cheapened the quality and the message of what we do. And the reason I bring this up is because I actually got into words with a copycat of ours on TikTok, and I wanted to talk about it with you and tell our community because it bothers me a lot. But there's a creator called Mr. Lewis. When I told you about him, you didn't know, so I'll explain to the audience. Mr. Lewis started probably a year ago, completely same style as ours. Whether he was ripping us off, inspired by us, saw similar content from other copycats, who knows? His whole thing, though, was that he was interviewing rich people or people who said that they were rich in San Francisco next to a bunch of boutique stores. His whole thing has been luxury. So he really leaned into the luxury thing, which brings me to another thing that bothers me about these creators, especially American Income, is that the people they interview, I think, are lying, especially the ones that sell crypto courses.
Yeah.
The second they're like,
Unfortunately.
I sell crypto, I'm like, great, you've made us less trustworthy to everybody with that content. But back to Mr. Lewis. Mr. Lewis was interviewing regular people in San Francisco who were making $500,000, whatever. So obviously not a big fan of what he did, promoted transparency, whatever. He's gained a huge following. And what bothered me about his content is people started tagging us in his videos. And I know because they would tag Salary Transparent Street, and obviously we saw the tags. And I would click on the tags and the comment would be gone, meaning that
He
they
deleted
deleted it. And eventually we just stopped getting those comments. So he just completely silenced our community who were sticking up for us. And I just think that that's gross, especially if you were inspired by us. If you're going to be inspired by us, then why would you take the content down if you don't think that you're doing something wrong?
Correct. Yeah.
And I always had that kind of chip on my shoulder after that because I was like, okay, he's not a good person, but I'm a firm believer in karma. Firm believer in karma. And so that has kept me, cool to this point. And it really brings me back to the whole point that we know that a lot of these creators are doing it for clout because Mr. Lewis doesn't do that content anymore. He
Yeah.
stopped asking people how much they make. Now his whole thing for the past few months has been buying the most expensive, food or drink at a restaurant, and he reacts to it. Well, Mr. Lewis is currently in the process of getting himself canceled of his own doing. So let's roll the clip.
Appreciate you, boss. Appreciate that. Thank you very much. Oh well. Can I have more lobster or not?
You can have more lobster once you have completed these, sir.
I have to eat all this first. To be clear,
500 pounds,
the
you
rules
eat
are
500.
that I have to finish a plate before I go back to the buffet.
For the lobsters, yes. We have a sign right
It
over
says
there.
one per plate.
Yes.
It doesn't say you have to eat the plate before you come back, though.
And he has 3
I
plates
wasn't even talking
and
to you.
16
Who are you?
lobsters.
Who are you? I wasn't talking to
Sir,
you.
will you just please?
The casino who be taking all y'all money has a problem with me taking some lobster all
Yeah,
you can eat.
they
Stop playing
do.
with me. So I'm here at the Palms in Vegas trying to put y'all on to the good spots. You know what I'm saying? And the manager comes over to my table like, excuse me, are you gonna eat all that? The rule said 1 piece per plate, so that's exactly what I was doing. I would get 1 piece, take it back to my table, and then go back and get another piece. Hey, listen, after all
How
that,
did
I
you
ain't even
have
gonna hold y'all.
3
That
plates of
was
lobster in
busting.
front of
the
you
butter
then?
has some seasoning and only $80 too? This deal is definitely worth it, but the way that they treated me made me want to leave immediately.
You're not supposed to be back here.
And then as he throws away lobsters.
Supposed to be back here, please.
So he makes this video of himself acting like a brat where it's an all you can eat buffet. Obviously, there's rules, and it's a fair rule, in my opinion, that if you're eating whole lobsters, you have to finish your lobster before you go get another. He's got 2 plates of stacked full lobsters. The manager is telling him, you need to finish one before you go get more because what they're trying to avoid is food waste. How did he end his video? Throwing
Food
2
waste.
plates of, that's what, 6, 7 lobsters
Each.
in the trash.
Yeah.
Despicable.
But he's disheartened by the way that they treated him. And
So-
as you hear at the end of that video, she's like, "Excuse me, sir, you can't be back here." And he's like,
Yeah,
Oh,
he's in the kitchen.
oh.
So he pushed his way into the kitchen. And I'm loving this because I never liked the guy. The guy from the beginning gave me a bad feeling, gave me the ick. And sure enough, he had some words for me. So somebody commented and said, why don't people just unfollow him and make him lose his platform? He needs his followers don't need him. I believe that followers have so much power.
They really do.
They really do. And the only thing that creators have in terms of power is their following.
Yeah,
That
that's your
is-
support system. That's literally your funds.
Yep. So
Literally your funds. There we
So
go.
if you think you don't have power as a follower, you absolutely do. It's in that follow button. Don't give this guy views. Don't give him money because ultimately your views are money and he's showing you exactly who he is.
Yeah.
So, we've been super quiet. We've never made a video ever addressing copycats. We've never ever caused trouble. So I felt it was time to make ourselves heard. And I said, fun fact, he ripped off our entire account, Salary Transparent Street, when he first started and blocked everyone who mentioned us on his page. I could have told you he wasn't a great person a year ago. And he responded. And he really showed us who he was. And he said, girl, bye. Ripped off your entire account is a reach.
I'm actually a center director at a child care center.
How much money do you make a year?
I'm about 68,000. I work in philanthropy.
How much do you make in your role?
56.
Then he said, how many people are doing street interviews about money, finance, jobs, etc.? You're right. You're one of the people who copycatted our account. Then he said, your videos are corny and non-engaging. Mine are more entertaining. Which really proves my point.
On the video of him throwing away lobster to try to show, hey, this is what you can get for $80 here.
He posted that.
While he wastes food.
Disgusting. But to me, he really just proved exactly who he was. And the reason that he ripped off our account was never to help people make more money, was never to promote career opportunities or equal pay, because he just said it. My videos are more entertaining. He cares more about entertaining. He puts himself in the same caliber as these creators that make people look bad on purpose, that make themselves look better when they're not.
Fortunately, he just made himself look terrible.
So thank you, Mr. Lewis, for showing all of us and your millions of followers exactly who you are. And if you're a follower of his, we're not telling you what to do, but I do want to stress that you have power in your follow and who you follow matters.
Yeah. But one thing that I will say about copycats, and this is kind of opposite of what we were just saying, but I remember when we first started, and then we went to FinCon, I think.
Yeah.
And we came across that one guy who
Yeah.
started with our content.
Who was,
Yeah.
there's
But-
tea there.
But with that, though, he said that he was told to start with our content, which Like I said, I get it. It helps you.
Our advisor told this
Yeah.
guy to do the exact same thing we were doing, and that's why that guy's no longer our
Yeah,
advisor.
exactly.
He
But
also
with
stole a
that
lot
though,
of money from
like,
us.
yeah, but with that though, I get it. Like start with something that you've already seen and know because like that kind of helps you get comfortable with
Right.
it.
Yeah,
Get helps you
it's
get
good to be
comfortable in front of
inspired.
the camera and and to talk to people and things like that. And like I remember when we first started, there were several people that used to come up to us when we'd finish an interview or getting ready to start an interview, and they'd be like, "How do I get there? What do I do?" And we told them all the same thing. Just grab a mic, pick up your phone, and start recording.
Mhm,
Like
mhm,
what is a problem that you want to solve?
mhm.
Solve that problem. We seen the problem of pay inequity with you, and we was like, we want to solve this, so
Yeah.
let's do it. I get the understanding behind people going like, yes, let me just try their content to see
Mhm.
what works for me. Get it. But when you're doing several videos back to back, like now you're really starting to hone in on that rather than going, oh, well, I tried it, didn't work for me, or it did work for me. So, like, now let me put my own spin on it. That's the difference.
Yeah, I don't like when people do it for the wrong reasons.
Right.
I am so supportive of people that are doing it because they believe in equal pay and normalizing transparency. You're an ally to me
Correct.
in that sense. But the reason that I have issues with creators like Mr. Lewis and American Income is because they haven't done good with their platforms. They've been mean. They have not pushed transparency. If you're promoting crypto courses and interviewing, real estate investors and people telling you to buy their course, you do not have your community's best
Yeah,
interests at
because you're not
heart.
working for the working class. When we were, at the Pentagon and you were in sales, we didn't have the money to go, oh,
We know what it's like to be
let
broke.
me spend $1,500 on a crypto course because that might get me where I want to
Yeah.
be. By no means did that
Mhm.
work. We
Mhm.
continue to keep our heads down, grind, try to do as many things as we could so that we can get to where we wanted.
Yeah.
We just so happened to catch this break, which I'm very grateful for. But like with that, it took time. Like none of
Yes.
this making actual wealth comes overnight at
No.
all. And that's the thing that they keep trying to push because that
They
seems
make it look so
yeah, it
easy.
seems a lot more obtainable. If you hear, oh well, $1,500 now, in 2 months will come back to you as 5 grand or 10 grand or even 20 grand. Sounds really good. But at the end of the day, I mean, like that isn't that what the lottery is?
Right.
Spend $20 now and you have a shot at winning $3 billion. Will you? No.
No.
You get that shot. And that's what they hone on. They look for people who are that desperate to go, okay, well, yeah, I'll spend $1,500 on this.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's up to you. Do you want to follow somebody that's trying to trick you and take your money? We've never sold anything to our community ever.
I
Ever,
mean
ever,
merch,
ever.
but
Well,
that's if you
merch,
want to
but that's your
support.
choice. Like
Yeah.
anything that's
And we
been
actually didn't even
helpful.
profit off of that merch.
We actually lost so much money on merch. Yeah,
Yeah.
we didn't make a single dime on merch. But these are just our 2 cents on how we feel about copycats. This is a great segue, though, into the main topic, which is how much do we make? And now I'm kind of like, should we talk about this? Just talking about copycats. But I do think it is important to share how much we make and be transparent about where that money comes from, how you make money as a creator. It's probably the number one question we get is
Yeah.
how do you monetize
Well,
as a
that's also
creator?
because a lot of people think that they have that get gotcha moment whenever they are interviewing you and they go, "Well,
How
Hannah,
much do you
how
make?
much do you make?"
I've talked about this. There's actually a full deep dive YouTube episode we've made that's like 10 minutes long, really breaking
Yeah.
down all of our revenue. We're not going to get that detailed today. We're kind of just going to fill in the
Wave
missing
tops.
gaps that we've gotten questions about. But if you're really interested in like the percentages and the dollar amounts like to the T, we made a whole YouTube video
Yeah.
about it. So go
And I
check
mean,
it out. We'll
and
link it in the description below.
yeah, and if you want to check that out, like by all means, that's pretty similar to what it is now, just a
Mhm.
few variations, but yeah, still pretty much the same.
So, do you want to interview me like a
Yeah.
regular?
Yeah,
Yeah, let's do
I'll
it.
interview
Okay.
you.
And then
Okay.
I'll interview you. Okay.
So what do you do?
I am the CEO of Salary Transparency, and I consider myself a social activist. I don't love influencer I'll take content creator, but I really consider both of us social activists.
Awesome. And then how much do you make?
I love the awesome. Are you trying to
Awesome.
emulate me?
Yeah, yeah, honest.
Nice. Cool, cool. How much do I make? I actually just got a raise. So in the YouTube video, I was making 200,000, I believe. Now I am making $220,000. I got a little bit of a raise. And I'll break that down. So 220,000, the reason that I got the raise is we have a fantastic accountant and accounting team, and Stephanie and the financial design team are probably some of our biggest allies, I would consider. They have kept us on the straight and narrow. They've
Yeah.
been very honest and transparent with us about this is what you can do with your money, this is what you should do, and they've never guided us in the wrong direction. We have never been out to become millionaires or rich.
Correct.
And our account has made well over $1 million. We made over $1 million, and we are on track to make the same amount and more this year. We do not pocket all of that. If we did, we would full on be millionaires. But no, we are on salaries, annual salaries,
Yeah. So you said you make 225,
220.
220. So how does that work? Where does that money come from?
So that comes from the business's revenue. So we made $1 million. Not all of that goes into our pockets. We have set annual salaries for ourselves, and that is however much, we get paid bi-weekly. That comes out of the business bank account. So the money that we make gets put into several different buckets, right? One of those is our salaries. It goes towards paying ourselves back. The other is our travel. The other is our equipment. The other is our editor. Shout out Amanda for 2 cents, our new editor. We have lots of people that we work with to make the business run, which is why we do not pocket everything, because we reinvest more than half of our earnings back into the business, back into our accounting team, our newsletter team, our website team. I mean, to be transparent, our website has cost well over six figures.
Mm.
We're building a job board right now that is going to rival. It's going to rival Indeed. It's going to rival Glassdoor. It's going to be the next big thing. That is costing us $70,000. And I'm happy to spend it because I believe that reinvesting in the business is going to reinvest back into us. I'm playing the long game. And I think that that's what creators do wrong is they spend everything they make.
Well, yeah, man, because it's money coming in. So you go, well, I got this money now.
I got $100,000. I'm going to go blow it on a new car.
Or
We're driving the same
yeah,
car we had
well,
before this.
exactly. So follow-up question then.
Mhm.
How did you determine that you were able to afford the 220
Yeah,
salary?
so we have had a good year, a really good year. We just signed a new contract with one of our long-term partners, which for a year-long contract has told us how much we're going to make in the next year from that partnership alone. So I had a meeting with Stephanie, our accountant, and I was at 200,000. I'm really happy with where we're at. I mean, gosh, that's more money than I've ever made in my life. The most amount of money I made back in our corporate jobs was 115,000 as a senior data analyst, and that was the job I was working before we did this. So making 200K is just A, wild. B, we're very comfortable. And if anybody making 200K tells you they're not comfortable, they're living in the wrong city or they're doing something wrong with their money. And I think a lot of that has to do with lifestyle creep. I digress. So when I met with Stephanie, we knew how much money we were going to be making over the next few months. So we knew, okay, these are our planned expenses. We're not anticipating anything crazy. This is however much money we have left over. Like what do you want to do with it? Stephanie was like, do you want to raise? And we actually decided that while we have raised my salary to 220, I'm actually not going to make more in my monthly paycheck or my biweekly paycheck. That extra 20K is actually going into my 401k because she gave me the option. You can make more and pocket more every month, or we can play the long game. And we have a 401k, we have healthcare with the business, which costs the business more money as well, which is another reason that we have more that goes into expenses than ourselves. But we looked at the fact that we could max my entire 401k. I think my match now, my contribution to my 401k on my every paycheck I get is now 13%. And I believe it was 6% before.
Yeah.
And we're like super maxing it. She explained everything to me. This is why I have an accountant.
Exactly.
I don't know
Exactly.
everything, but she showed me the numbers and she was like, look, you can either pocket more this much each month, or we can super max and really max out your 401k, which means that every month I'm putting money into a retirement account that I am not touching, but is growing from the 401k account that we have and the stocks that we're invested in. And the company is matching 50% of that up to, I believe, 6%. So I'm making money extra from the 401k match and from having it in an investment that's going to gain stocks long term. To me, I think that that's more valuable
Oh,
because we
definitely.
don't know how long this ride is going to last. We don't know when the roller coaster
Well, man,
ends.
with that, like we weren't even expected for this to become what it is today. So
Right.
by
So
all
I feel
means.
very blessed. And I'm thinking I'm going to save the money because you never know what could happen. We could have a recession. All our partners could close on us. We could get canceled. Let's hope not.
Right. I
But
mean, the reality of the job is that as a content creator, everything could be gone in a matter of seconds,
if TikTok gets banned, we lose half of our following. So I'm going to save our eggs, put them in a basket that I know is going to multiply, and I'm still taking home $200,000 a year. So I am not upset. I believe my paycheck every 2 weeks comes out to about $5,000. So I'm making like 10 grand after taxes, after healthcare, all of that take home every month. It's a really solid place to be.
Mm.
So, James, what do you do for a living?
How do I put this lightly? I
You're
am
my bitch. I'm kidding.
right there you go. No, I'm a house husband. Yeah. Cameraman, photographer, I don't know, advisor,
A co-founder for
yeah,
sure.
co-founder.
Senior advisor
Yeah.
to the
I'm like
CEO.
yeah, like the
You're my
C
right-hand man.
yeah, I'm the COO. That's what we'll call
Mhm.
it. Yeah, the COO.
Yeah, you wear many hats,
Yeah.
as do I.
Yeah, exactly. And that's, I mean, like, I think that that's also the good thing about it because to start off, did 9 years in the Marine Corps. And then after that, did multiple jobs to lead up to where we are today. But with that, all of my jobs, I noticed, like, I tend to become very bored with the job really quick.
Mm.
And that's because once you get into a routine, like, everything just becomes so tedious and mundane. Like, I got to type up another letter, or I got to schedule
There's also
another
no
appointment.
purpose behind the work that we were doing.
Exactly. And that was the other thing. So like with this, with me being able to wear multiple hats, like keeps the job very entertaining. And I
Mhm.
love that. But with that,
How much do you make?
I make through the company 65,000 a year.
Mhm.
And then I know we always get this because
Do
we're
you feel
yeah.
fairly
Right.
compensated? I know where you're going because we got torn to
Oh
shreds.
my God. Every single time.
Everyone was
People
so mad. They thought
but
that it was racism.
but
They
like
were like, it's a gender pay
well,
gap,
at the same time though, like
pitchforks.
I get it. And like I appreciate it from all the people that was like, "Oh, pay James more." I completely understand it. Thank you
Yeah,
guys.
we want
Yeah,
that. We want people
right.
to respond that way.
It's set
There's
at
more to the
6. Yeah,
story.
it's set at 65 for a reason.
Mhm.
But it's set at 65. But then also like that's not my only finances. So for STS, yes, I wear multiple hats. But what people don't see is that Monday through Friday, you're taking calls, you're scheduling meetings, you're the one that's buying plane tickets, literally scheduling
All the
events,
marketing,
you
all
know,
the social media. I
right,
do all the
responding to
editing.
comments, posting
I'm
videos,
working 8 hours a day
all of
every
that,
day.
right? Versus me, I'm behind the camera on the weekends
I think you
or
work
at events.
maybe 10 hours a month, honestly.
Yeah,
Not
yeah,
counting travel.
yeah, not counting travel. Correct.
Like actual holding the phone. I don't think you work more than 10 hours a
Yeah,
month,
yeah.
which is amazing.
I'm not mad at it. But like
Me
with that,
either.
people don't see that. They don't
No.
see that like Monday through Friday, I'm cutting the grass or like taking the dogs on a hike.
And everyone knows stay-at-home moms aren't compensated, so house husbands aren't
Right.
either.
So to me, by all means, like 65 is more than enough on top of the fact that because I'm a veteran, I get disability
Right.
and that's more than enough. I'm at 90%, hopefully 100 soon. Let's
Mhm.
go VA.
Yeah, so you make more money from other sources that are not related to STS.
Correct.
So if we ask
Untaxable
you
income.
yeah, if we ask you how much you make from STS and you say 65, that's not the full picture.
Right.
Your total compensation is well over 100K.
Correct. But that's the thing is people only see that first number, which I get by all means. But like, yes, I'm definitely making more than 65K untaxable income on top of like the freedom that I get. And I think that that's
Right.
the thing that I value more when we're interviewing teachers and they're like, "Oh, well, do what you love. Like, don't worry about the pay." I get that because yeah,
You are doing what you
I'm doing
love.
what I love. Like literally, I
But
can
it also helps that I'm incredibly well compensated
exactly.
and we're married. So it's not like
So I
you're
know that
only making 65 and you
right.
live in your mom's basement. Like we live together and together we make over
Which is
$300,000.
awesome because that means that on a Tuesday morning, I can go, well, I'm going to go grocery shopping and then take the dog for a hike,
Mhm.
you know?
And I'm working
And I
and
know
you're
that
able
you
to
got it.
yeah, but it for me it's nice too because I know the dogs are being taken care of, they're being loved, instead of just both of us working at our desks 9 to 5 Monday through Friday. I can take on that load and you take care of the household and
Yeah.
it's such a beautiful balance and I'm so appreciative of you for really stepping up that yeah, you're worth a lot more in my mind.
And thank you for being my sugar mama.
Stop.
Oh,
Do
but
you
yes.
feel well
Yeah,
compensated
I
then?
do. I do. And especially like when the 100% does kick in, that'll help out
Hopefully,
a lot
fingers
more.
crossed. Anybody listening, please cross your fingers that James gets his 100% disability. He has valid reasons for it. He is not just trying to scam the government, and it's been a real battle to get you what you deserve,
Yeah.
honestly. So we'd love your positive manifestations there.
But yeah,
Back to the show.
back to the show. But yes, I do feel well compensated. Obviously with everybody, I would love a little bit more, but that's just so that I can buy more toys, you know. For those
Clarify
yeah,
toys.
for those of you who don't know, I love motorcycles. I'm actually going to be launching my old motorcycle page sometime soon when I
You
figure it
better
out.
not ask people how much they make, James.
Definitely won't be. It'll most likely be me in
Do
a
you need me to
helmet.
film?
No, it'll be me. It'll be me with the helmet on the bike. That's it. Unless you want to ride with, but I know you
No.
don't like to. So,
No.
but yeah, I just want more toys. That's it. But like, what person doesn't, you know?
Yeah.
And then like now with all this free time, I'm like, I need projects, and I think that that's the other thing because like I draw, I build things, but like now I just want to build a solid car that like it's my baby. That's
Yeah,
it.
we'll make it happen. I hot take don't feel well compensated, but I set my own salary. So
Yeah.
I only have myself to blame. And the reason I don't feel well compensated, let me back up. I do and I don't feel well compensated. I do because we're paying the bills. We have money left over every month. We are well compensated. But when I look at all the hats I'm wearing, all
Yeah.
the things that I'm doing, and how much each role would be paid on its own if we hired a social media manager, if we hired a marketing,
Yeah.
senior marketing
Yeah.
person, if we hired a full-time editor, all those people combined would be making significantly more
Oh,
than I
definitely.
make.
Definitely.
But like I said, we are well taken care of, and I think that we are playing it smart, that in the long run, this will pay us back
Well, and
in
I think that's
dividends.
also like the reason why we chose to keep the team small as well.
Yes.
Because one thing that we heard a lot of in the beginning was don't try to grow too fast. And therefore, second, we did try to, and it didn't go too well for
No,
us.
I burned out so fast and it affected our content and everything.
Yeah. So, I mean, like us keeping the team pretty small and I'd say more so like just contracting out things that we need done.
It's
has
also been
definitely
safer because we had
exactly. It's been a
That's
lot
another
safer.
episode. Do you guys want to hear the horror story of our first full-time employee? Maybe we'll tell it.
Maybe.
Maybe.
But yeah. So with that though, how much do you think would be a good amount for you to feel comfortable doing what you do?
Comfortable? So I guess I would say I'm comfortable. If I wanted to be really comfortable, like never worry about anything, buy whatever I want, I'd love to be making 400K.
Mm,
But who needs that? Like, I love that we are still real people, regular people. We didn't go buy a mansion. We're still living in the shitty house that we were living in before this. Now we're finally setting aside money to renovate our
yeah,
house, but we've been in that place that needs renovation, so it's not like
for
we're
going on 3
living.
years now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's we didn't fall victim to lifestyle creep.
definitely.
And we
Yeah.
didn't move to LA. We didn't buy a new house. We didn't buy a new car. And I'm so grateful that we've never done those things after, starting our page, because we would definitely be in a different comfort
Yeah.
bucket
Oh,
right now.
definitely.
But because we never made those changes and we don't take ourselves too seriously, we're not extravagant people. We don't spend money on lavish
I mean,
things.
if I had to say, I'd like to think that we're like pretty tight with our money
We're
on top of
really
that. I
tight with
mean,
our money.
yeah, because like you said, house,
Budget
rent,
to a T.
we have one car.
One car. I'm comfortable.
Good. So, what advice would you give now, knowing everything that we've been through, all the experiences that we've had with this company, with the page, with copycats, all of that? What would you say to somebody who's like, hey, I want to launch my page today, don't really know what I want to do, nor do I know like how much I want to be paid or what I want to get from this? At this point, you've went from, you know,
Telemarketer
right.
to data analyst to entrepreneur to content creator.
I mean, you didn't even mention barista, server, like
I've had
yeah,
so many
those were
jobs.
jobs. So like what would you say to, you know, 19-year-old Hannah?
Oh, that's gonna make me emotional. Um, that's so annoying. Am I on my period? I would say that to not give up on your dreams. Like, ever since you've known me, I've wanted to work for myself. I wasn't like a big pay transparency advocate before I found out I was underpaid because I didn't know that the issue existed.
Right,
But
right.
ultimately, I have always wanted to achieve impact. And I've wanted to do that by working for myself because I like working for myself. I like having creative control. I hated when I worked in my jobs and I would step outside my line, my box, and I'd be like, "I have an idea for an ad that we could do." And I would tell them and they're like, "You're a data analyst.
This
Like,
isn't your
shut up.
job.
This isn't your job." And I realized in my work and by doing what we do now that I am a creative person. And creativity doesn't have to mean drawing or painting or creating music. I always thought that that's what that meant. But I have always been a creative person. And I think that creativity lends itself to businesses and wanting to achieve impact through creativity and business. I think I just love marketing and advertising, like
Yeah, yeah.
campaigns. I love that. And I didn't know what that was until we started Salary Transparency. And I was like, I figured out what I love. Now I've got a product that demonstrates my key strengths, my passions, the impact I want. But it took me years to figure that out.
Right.
And I think the only reason that I figured it out is because I never gave up. It took me 10 plus years to get to this point. Like, I didn't know what I wanted to study in college. I've been through all the ups and downs, but like, I have always believed in myself, never gave up on it, and just never gave up on that goal. I think I just always knew one way or another, no matter how long it took me, that I would get there.
Yeah.
And not giving up on myself was the only way I did. And also having support, like, you believed in me. I think that in some areas where I was at, environments that I was at where we were not, I hadn't met you yet, I maybe wasn't successful because I didn't feel supported. And I'm not blaming other people. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying support creates confidence. And if you don't have that support, you're not
Correct.
confident in yourself or what you can achieve. But you told me that I could, and you supported me. And now here we are. So, yeah, I think it's having the right people around you, believing in yourself, and not giving up on your dreams, however corny that is. And if you don't know what that means yet, just keep going because you will figure it out.
And there
You're
we
making
go.
me emotional.
Hey, that's what I'm
I just
supposed
got
to do.
really good news the other day too. That's like full circle. So I think that's why I'm emotional.
Should I take off my shoes and sit cross-legged on the couch?
Oh, are
Yeah.
you gonna be like Drew Barrymore?
Yeah. You want to be Drew for you?
You want to be my Drew Barrymore?
Yeah, I could be your
You gonna
Drew.
hold my hand?
So Hannah,
No, I appreciate you. I'm so appreciative of you. Really wouldn't be able to be where I am today or have achieved most of what I've done without you.
just doing what I do best. If I look back at myself, I guess like I was in several different life stages. Obviously, like
You've been through the
yeah,
gauntlet.
joining the Marine Corps was like its whole own thing because I went through, my phase where I was hard Marine Corps, and then towards the end I was like, yeah, this is stupid.
I'm getting out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
why am I
Well, you
doing it?
also made it out of
Yeah.
Southside Chicago.
All right, and right, that's another thing coming out of Chicago, like literally like last week, looking at everything, going, well, the time when I was growing up poor in the South Side of Chicago, I didn't think that I'd be at DC. Like that was never even a thought in my mind. Like, hey, you're gonna be driving past the monuments on a regular basis,
Right.
in the same room as the
Same.
president. Like, that was never a thought in my mind. But like, if I was able to somehow go back and tell myself anything, it'd be like, just do what you need to do
Just keep
because
going.
just keep going. Like it'll get better. And I think that was the biggest thing. It's like, especially being so young, going through so many different things, it's hard to think that like life does get better, but like it does. Yeah.
But
So
it does.
you'll see some stuff that'll make you go, yeah, this is worth it.
Yeah. And I mean, not to like be spiritual or anything. We're not religious people, but I do believe so strongly in energy and karma. We're seeing it happen to our friend Mr. Lewis right now, that the energy you put out into the world
It's what you get back.
is what you get back. And any opportunity you have to do the right thing will reward you, even if you think doing the right thing at the time may not be what you want to do. It's always the right thing.
Yeah.
Doing the right thing.
Honestly, I mean, like it's
Good things happen to good people.
right. And unfortunately bad things do too, but
But that's
but
that's why
part-
we're not religious,
yeah,
because
but
that's just life.
That's part of the journey. Like there's ups and there's downs.
You
Literally.
can't control it, but you can control your actions and how you react to things. And doing good will open way more doors, at least in my experience. Choosing to just keep going and not be a negative Nancy, not be a Debbie
Don't
Downer, not
dwell on the
take people
bad
down
things.
with me has
Yeah.
led us to where we are now.
Well, with that, and not taking people down with me, I literally just saw this TikTok the other day where this dude, he it was like a Ring doorbell footage.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, and I guess it was his neighbor, right? He comes over, like, rings the door, and he's like, "Hey, bro, somebody just ruined my day, so I'm gonna ruin yours." And he proceeds to
No.
tell him like, "Your girl cheating. Come check my Ring footage. Like I can show you." And walks off. Next door neighbor. One, I commend that man for that.
Is that
No,
a good
but
Samaritan?
I don't know.
Honestly,
I don't know.
like,
But like,
you're
I
welcome.
think that that's also terrible though. That like his actions were like, somebody ruined my day, so like let me also spread
Let me
hate to
ruin
you.
yours.
Yeah.
Yeah. See,
Unfortunately.
don't do that.
Now, if you
But
would,
if you know that your neighbor's cheating, there are other ways to tell
right?
them.
I mean, like you could have been
An
like,
anonymous letter.
or he could have been like, "Yo, somebody ruined my day, so I'm gonna help make your life better."
Yeah.
Like I guess
Yeah.
it's just your interpretation of things. Like if you look at everything in the world as gloomy and bad and all the negative stuff, because there's so much stuff going on right now that is so bad.
I understand why people can
Yeah.
feel really down right
I
now.
get it.
We're
I
not
honestly,
guilt tripping.
yeah,
We're not telling
I
you don't
honestly
feel
really
down.
get it.
Just
But
don't
like,
stay down.
yeah, don't stay down. Like, look at the good things. Try to focus on some of the good things. I seen this one video. There was this girl, and she was like, "Whenever I'm feeling down, I laugh until I start feeling good." And that's because you
Mm.
can trick your body into being
You
happy.
can
by all
dance.
means.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
saw
you
a
can
thing about
dance.
psychology.
Like,
Side to side movement
so like
actually is
just
soothing.
trying to figure out a way to make yourself feel better, because by all means the world's going to get you down,
Yeah.
and like if you allow it to, it's going to keep you there.
You need good people
Keep
and good
yourself up,
vibes.
right?
Yeah.
And then find your partner that also likes to have fun and be happy and smile a lot and be silly
And you'll smile too.
and sing like she's from the 1920s. But
These are our 2 cents.
and that's the
Bada boop,
episode.
boop, boop. We'll see you next week. Bye.